Massive reports to get through this evening as we talk post-match versus Brentford, and then we discuss the developing story surrounding our top target in January in Jeremy Jacquet. Oh my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and let's discuss today's first big report. Tonight, Liam Rosenior won his first game as our new manager, and what I have to say was quite a chaotic fashion. Now, the manner in which we won this game was of a questionable talking point amongst the fan base today. But here's exactly what Rosenior had to say. And to start with things, let's discuss the big thing most of us were suspecting. When Esteval was confirmed ill, Rosenior says yes, he was ill. It's running through the squad. There were a few, I won't say who, but there are a couple of players playing today who are complaining about their chests. They put in a magnificent effort. I felt that's why we weren't good with the ball. I won't give you names. It's not right for me to do that, but I'm so happy with the attitude of all the group to get through this game. That was the answer I was waiting for, because I thought to myself, the way we're playing today feels uncharacteristic. There's no way that Rosenior was encouraging this type of performance, and knowing that many players in the squad are affected by this viral outbreak. We know that the latest victims today were Esteval and Asugo. It only made sense that maybe a few other players picked it up, and if I had to guess, I'm guessing probably Reece James, who didn't look quite himself, maybe Cole Palmer, maybe Enzo Fernandez. There were definitely a few guys playing today who were playing through the illness. So that really recontextualizes my thoughts now. This makes this win especially impressive, because this was a mental win. When you're fighting against your own body to secure the points, with the effort we put in, with the running today, I'm not going to lie, I'm happy that this was confirmed, and massive credit goes out to the team today. I did say in my review that, you know what, maybe this played a part, because again, we were seeing some interesting things that we don't typically see at all. In terms of the win today, Rosenior was in good spirits. Let's talk about Cole Palmer, who seemed frustrated in this game today. Rosenior says, no, Cole, if you watch the last 50 minutes of the game and you watch the energy he puts into this press and his running for the team, I thought he was outstanding. It's impossible for any player or any team to be like magnificent with the ball in every game, but you can still find a way to win. The other thing I would say about Cole and Reece as well, they haven't trained. So again, is this like a sly confirmation that these were two players that were suffering in this game today? Potentially, but amazing showcase of their mental strength today. As Rosenior says, was he pleased about the win today? He says, by hook or by crook, I felt that attitude. The energy levels, valuing the basics of football. And we saw a lot of those basics with the clearances and the long balls out from pressure. Say less. When you play a good team like Brentford, who can play in many different ways, who are very, very good in set plays, credit to the team for great set play defending, I have to say too. Long throws, organization, listen, to get 2 goals showed the players' willingness to battle, to fight, to block shots, to make headers, and to make tackles as well. So that's a very commendable performance today. Great to see. Rosenior actually cracked a few jokes. We did learn, of course, about Tolson, who did come off, and he reveals that Tolson felt something in his hamstrings. So that probably confirms why we're in the market now to sign another defender, which again, very fortunate circumstances, but now it really works in our favor. And in regards to everything else, I mean, that's the most important stuff to take away from the presser. Rosenior had a few jokes to crack, obviously. As he says right here, this made me kind of laugh. Is it similar in training sessions when asked about, you know, his activities, coaching the team? He says, yeah, we've got Lego to come. I know where that came from. I've been doing a lot of clapping as well. I got sent a really, really good article that I enjoyed. I'm a coach and I want to help the players and will continue working really hard. So it's good that Rosenior's in good spirits, and it's good to see that his team today put on a real mental showcase to really put their bodies on the line to get these points today. And now that this news is officially confirmed, I mean, it does probably recontextualize how all of us saw that game versus Brentford today. So what was your thoughts on what Rosenior had to say? Leave your thoughts on the game too. Check out my match review too. And now, my friends, we discuss the breaking story of today. let's get straight into things. And that is, my friends, Jeremy Jacquet. He is the player we are targeting and throwing all the money at in this January window. It was confirmed late last night, actually, that we had held direct contacts with Rennes over the last 24 hours. Now, if you guys remember, back in December was the first times we held conversations with Jacquet's agents. And as we know, Jacquet is part of a 3-man shortlist of centre-backs, but obviously he is the top option the club are targeting right now. Now, the massive news that came out today came courtesy of French journalist Insanti Una, or whatever his name is, and he confirms that we have reached a contractual agreement. We have reached personal terms with Jacquet, who has said yes to signing for Chelsea Football Club. And the only thing we have to do now, which is the big thing, is now finding an agreement with Rennes. And Rennes aren't going to be making nothing easy, because Rennes, they're not really in the business right now to sell one of their key players in the market. As we're learning, our initial approach is around 50 million euros. That's around 43 million pounds. Rennes at the moment, though, they want Jacquet to be the biggest sale in their club's history, hoping to earn around 70 million euros, around 61 million pounds. This would beat their previous record set by Jeremy Jacquet, who signed for Man City for around 60 million euros. So it does make a lot of sense. They don't want to lose their star guy in the season right now, not when they have their own objectives to fight for in Ligue 1 this season. We also understand too that they're also in the market to maybe potentially sign other players. So if we could strike a deal with them, could that help them in terms of reinforcing their team? And they're looking at the Polish winger from Fenerbahce, and his name is Sebastian Zimanski. So could we be possibly helping them out in that way? Let's see, but it's quite obvious by the prohibitive price tag that they've slapped on him. They want to keep him now, ideally sell him in the summer, and will only sell him for crazy money in January to release him right now. Now, it's a massive valuation difference, 43 million, yeah, and 60 million pounds. That's like nearly a 20 or 17 million pound difference. Knowing how we do things all the time, we constantly can reach agreements contractually. We do it all the time. I mean, Xavi Simons was the latest example, right? But the thing we find difficult is getting the price right, because we've told the market that we won't pay above a certain price, hence why we never made moves for Ekitike, even though once upon a time he was the original striker that we was making moves for since January to get ready to sign in the summer before fumbling things. So it's a reminder to not get too carried away. Now that Tosin is confirmed with a suspected hamstring injury, is that going to now encourage the club even more? Or will that make Rennes more defiant that they won't sell Jacquet unless they are getting absolute top dollar and big money? So let's watch that space. Let's see how it goes. But in the meantime, man, negotiations have to be on point. The money has to be there. And you know, we're still going to learn and find out whether the club actually do want to pay over the odds to sign him, because that's what you do in January. You pay premiums every single time. So the good thing is that Jacquet has informed Rennes that he would like to sign for us now. This came courtesy of Ben Jacobs. That's helpful. And with Jacquet's desire to leave right now, probably thinking that Chelsea are saying the right things to him, that he will be one of the #1 starters. That's what we're learning right now. Could that maybe even force Rennes to negotiate a little bit? I mean, to get that amount of money would be absolutely crazy, but maybe to get around 55 million, or like 50 million plus a sell-on clause, plus achievable add-ons, bonuses. That's how this stuff kind of works for the younger players. And I'd imagine that we'll be coming in now with more offers. So that's the news on Jacquet. But the question is, why exactly do Chelsea want to sign him in January now? And this comes from a multitude of sources. But as we know, we're in the January business to accelerate our summer plans. Basically meaning that if there's a player that we were targeting for the summer, if there's a way to bring them in right now, we're open to doing that. Getting the centre-back is the first priority, but there's also still the possibility that if the right attacking player or midfield player was about right now, we would also be interested in securing their services. Now, it seems like we'll probably only sign one, if I had to guess. And Matt Law does remind us that Chelsea have left the place on their Champions League A-list specifically for the possibility of a scenario that they bring in someone new in January. I'm also led to believe that they left themselves room within UEFA sanctions rules to do so as well. It makes sense because if you think about it, you know, we were going to sign someone at the final moments of the window. It never came through. Bell Norte now has left us, obviously freeing up another Champions League spot. So at the moment, we probably have space for one, potentially two more players to add. Now, for Rosenior, he sees Jacquet as a star, as Rosenior was reported to have said. He has expertise now after being in Ligue 1, and he sees Jacquet as like one of the big emerging players to come through the country, as he has the expertise of the French market. For the club's angle, they felt like they couldn't wait for him in the summer because the competition would be big for his services, hence why they're making a move from right now. As we know, Bayern Munich have expressed a desire to try and sign him, and if they express a desire, there'll be even more clubs to come after him if he ends the season strong, which it looked like he was set to do at the moment. Jacquet's been on our shortlist since July, and to add further context too, we also learned that we all know Maresca wanted a centre-back, but the club released something through a media source suggesting that because this news was public, it kind of undermined our financial position because now clubs knew were kind of desperate to reinforce, which meant that the prices naturally went up. Now, I don't know how fair that is to report on, considering that Maresca always played ball, and this didn't come out until after the window. So how does that really make any sense? It wasn't really like, it wasn't Maresca using his press conference to state, I want a centre-back. So I'm not too sure about that, but now he's gone, it seems like there is the opportunity now for the club to make sure he's signed. So I guess naturally the question is, what makes Jeremy Jacquet the one? Now, I got a few thoughts and opinions, but in terms of the tactical talk, my friends, tomorrow I'm going to be releasing my reaction analysis on Jacquet to give you a more deeper, in-depth type of analysis behind what to expect in his game. But you know what? Sometimes it feels like the club kind of prioritizes the opportunity and the deal over the reality of what the team needs right now. If you want to use like maybe an example, look at someone like Lenny Yoro. In the windows he was available, you wouldn't see one analysis piece. You wouldn't see one report that wasn't making this guy the second coming of like Maldini, Ferdinand, or whatever. He was the next superstar to emerge from Lille. Madrid were fighting for him. United overpaid for him. And since he's now come to the Premier League and made that step up, he's growing a bit, but he isn't the instant type of impact player that you're expecting right now. And I think that's food for thought in terms of maybe managing our expectations around Jacquet. Now, listen, I'm always happy to be proven wrong. You guys know this about me. But the amount of times to get proven wrong compared to just kind of being practical with your opinion is very rare. And for a player that has made less than 50 League 1 appearances in his career, I think even less than 25, this is a massive step up immediately, right? Now, the club are saying that he is being signed as one of these starting centre-backs for the team right now. Why exactly would the club be offering him that type of role and that type of responsibility already? Now, one thing you're going to hear me mention a lot in my reaction analysis tomorrow is him being like the spear and the shields. And that is that he's a dual two-way style defender. I think what Chelsea are looking at in terms of an option to add to the team is someone that not only allows you to kind of defend with a high line, but they want another player that can jump, another player that can sniff out the danger before it comes. And Jacquet, one of the good things about his game, and I've said this a few times, is he's a thinking man's defender. He isn't just reacting to what's happening on the field. He bides his time. He doesn't force defensive actions unless he has to. He has a good anticipation and reading of what the team needs to be able to, nullify an attack. He's dual spear and shield because he's proactive in terms of how he can step out, close down the danger, but also he's a shield because he can also defend the other way by just covering passing lanes, mopping up danger in behind, acting as that last line as well. So having someone this young that can defend both ways, has the pace of a short, long distances, it makes him a unique type of player with his height, his physicality, and all that room for growth. I still have question marks on the breaking line ability, for sure. Not that it's bad, but I just felt like if we were going to have someone potentially play in the middle of the back three, didn't we need that type of profile that, potentially is like the real orchestrator in the defense? Fair enough. Let's see if Jacquet can kind of adapt to that. We are also signing players that can grow in the long term, but I can't just stop having this feeling around making such a massive step up to the Premier League so soon. The pace is different, the energy is different, the type of strikers and players you're up against are different. It's a league where every single summer window we're seeing the level rise and rise, where Bournemouth can sign at the new Adriano, where teams are doing an absolute madness full of internationals. It's a massive, massive step up. And my only small concern is how quickly he is ready for the cause, considering we are throwing the kitchen sink to bring this guy in right now. It's something to think about. It's something to not get too carried away with. So I guess we have to see what happens, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen his game against Paris Saint-Germain. He had difficulties. He had difficulties against Barcola. It wasn't like he left that pitch like as a standout talent that was all-consuming and dominating. So for me, it's just a reminder that there's a bit of realistic expectation that we need to have around someone we're willing to splash massive money for to sign in January. So I guess this leaves me with a final conversation point to have. But what does this mean now for the rest of our defenders? And does he solve our defensive issues? Now, I've given you an understanding behind what the plan and idea is for him. But many fans, including myself, are of the belief that with the options we have, Sarr, who's still on loan, and Sulmino on loan, acheampong, do we not already have enough already to kind of just utilize and use? Was Jacquet, is he really the best out of all these guys that the club will splash near the amount of money that Ren want to bring him in right now? I only have educated guesses. Obviously, the kid's a talent. I'm not going to disrespect this game, but at Chelsea, man, we're so used to just this overabundance of young talent that we're signing. You get a little bit desensitized, especially when it's also the modern trend in football for every club now to dramatically overpay for younger and younger talents instead of paying for ready-made talents right now. For me, the variables will always affect their development, the game time, how quickly they adapt, how they get on with their teammates, fitness issues. All those little details do matter. So let's see what happens. But it's quite obvious that with Jacquet coming, we're accelerating our signing to bring him in now. But it definitely means that defenders are leaving. Now, of all the defenders we have, man, we have a crap ton of defenders in the team. You're looking at guys like Chalobah. You're looking at guys like Wesley Fofana. Let me even put this image up on screen so you guys can see. Using the Premier League site right here. Tosin. Players like Benoit. Colwell will be back before the season even ends as well too. And then we have your Sarrs and Sulminos as well out on loan. And then we have guys like Ordonez coming in 2027. We are absolutely stacked at the moment. If I had to make educated guesses, you'd imagine that maybe Tosin could go, Disasi's definitely going, potentially Chalobah goes as well. Maybe Badia could go. But in terms of like the four main guys, you're probably looking at maybe Colwell remaining, Fofana remaining as well, acheampong remaining, Jacquet staying here. And you guys, when it comes to like adding your fifth choice centre back, which you probably need, you can kind of insert any defender you want, because realistically, I think whoever gets the best money in the summer window will be the defender that will definitely leave us. But yeah, it's talented, but then again, you're left with an overabundance of similar profiles, similar age groups, fighting it out to be that number one. And Is it that simple? Are we adding something to the back line that maybe this team needs? That real leader from the back who's communicating, controlling his back line, talking to his midfield. Those details also matter. And outside of Levi Cole, who's really emerged to become that defender, do we have anyone close to that? And does Jacquet, even though he has been taking on a mini leadership role for the Rennes defense, full of youngers, does he have enough games in his career to come here acting like a big shot and a leader? I'm not too sure. So I do have a few question marks surrounding the need for someone like him, because you're definitely taking game time from someone. And I guess my big fear is, what could this mean for acheampong? I can't help but feel like acheampong and Jacquet are like so similar in terms of profiles and their game. Acheampong already had the interest of massive clubs already. Bournemouth tried to make offers, Madrid, PSG, Man City have looked at him, Arsenal, you can go on. What if this pushes him to potentially keep his options open in the summer? Because Jacquet clearly might be taking a spot, and I can't see us using acheampong and Jacquet as the number one defensive option throughout this whole season. It just won't be what happens. So a lot of food for thought here. I'm going to end things by letting you guys now get involved in this conversation surrounding the story, surrounding your thoughts on Jacquet, and whether this is the right move we're making. Comment below, my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Love.